Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode number 18. That's right, we're 18 strong of Thoughts and Hunches, making money in bunches and sucker punches. Your boy Stony back for another round. Let's call this the divisional playoff round of Thoughts and Hunches. A lot to get to. Things have been going crazy. So, I want to make sure that all of my scumbags, lowlifes, hustlers, hoodlums, fienders, and degenerates all feel welcome, because that's why I'm here, because I'm one of all of you. So you guys enjoy it, kick back, take your shoes off, get out a little pen and paper, write down all my picks, and let's get after it. First, we got to look back on the week that was. Not so good for your boy. First losing week. It was ugly, actually. Saturday, we actually turned it up. We had a very good week, or a very good day. 3-2-1 in the NFL, which we'll take every day because the NFL is not our specialty. And a 9-4 college basketball day. So, how can you go wrong? You're looking good heading into the weekend, and then the bottom fell out. Sunday and Monday, we went a combined 0-8. 0-6 on Sunday of the NFL, lost all three games and all three totals. And then Monday night was the NCAA National Championship. Ohio State and the under didn't exactly pan out the way that we wanted to. So, here we are licking our wounds after a 12-14-1 week, which was the worst week so far. So, look at our overall total for the year. 194 wins, 138 losses, 6 ties. That's still 58.43%. That's top notch. And it's the NFL that's dragging us down. You'll see in a bit with the other numbers. First, let's close the books on the NCAA football. With the 0-2 on Monday night, 87-57-1. That's what we went for this season. College football season, in these picks, in these videos, 60.42% documented. Pause for dramatic effect. Yeah, documented. Because every single pick is here, and I don't go back and change it or edit anything. These are the picks. Anyway, 60.42%. That's solid. That's top notch. So, anyway, now that the NCAA is over, we've only got 4 games to this weekend in the NFL, 2 next weekend, and then the Super Bowl. So that's it. 7 football games left. And then that's it until August. And, well, there will be smaller conferences, NCAA conferences, that will be coming back in the springtime. We don't know the timetable or anything like that, but our season ends the first Monday of April. So if somebody plays before then, that's a different story. But first Monday of April is the NCAA Basketball National Championship, and that's when we close up shop until August. So anyway, let's move on. NFL, don't mind the blonde highlights that I'm trying to incorporate here in this wannabe beard, because, when it's 20 freaking degrees outside and snowing 4 out of the last 6 days here in Nashville, you need warmth, period. So anyway, NFL division playoff Sunday. It's a weekend, not Sunday. Let's go to the weekend. We'll start with tomorrow, Saturday. NFL, by the way, last week, just as brutal could get, right? Started 3-2-1, missed the next 6, 3-8-1, just doesn't work. 66-58-4 are my NFL numbers, 53.22%. It's basically breaking even. It's 1 percentage point above breaking even. So if you've been riding my NFL picks, you ain't exactly making money. But here's my 8 picks for the weekend, because we're also going to play the totals in all 4 games. Starting with the LA Rams making a trip to Lambeau Field. The Packers 6.5 over the Rams. The Rams have the league's number 1 defense. And it's number one for a reason. They get after it, period. Right? You look at their defensive front. Aaron Donald is just a scary man. He's a scary person. And they have probably the best cover corner in the NFL in Jalen Ramsey, and he's going to be matched up against Devontae on the other side for the Pack. But where this game really takes its toll is Green Bay's defense becomes better because they're playing the Rams. The Rams beat the Seahawks last week, and that's all fine and dandy. Good for them, but they know the Seahawks. They played them twice during the season. Now they've got to go into the House of Doom that nobody seems to win in January, especially when it's blizzard conditions and snowing and windy and everything, and that's what you're going to get tomorrow, and the frozen tundra. Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. He's having a great year. He's unrightfully so. He's going to get the MVP. They're going to give it to him because he's Aaron Rodgers, right? And so, let's not bother with Derrick Henry, who rushed for 2,000 yards. Let's instead give it to a guy who's not going to win a Super Bowl again, and he's going to retire with his one Super Bowl win. I mean, hey, Brad Johnson's won a Super Bowl, so is Trent Dilfer. A lot of quarterbacks. Joe freaking Flacco has won a Super Bowl. So don't give me all this Aaron Rodgers nonsense. Anyway, I'm going to feed you Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers is going to roll tomorrow. Tomorrow, I think it's going to be easy. I think they're going to beat up the Rams. The Rams can't keep up offensively. They're a mess. Jared Goff I want to say he's 0-5 in temperatures that are below freezing. And he wasn't that good to begin with anyway. He's got an injured thumb. The Rams can't run the ball. They're just a mess right now. So that's why I'm taking the under. And Green Bay. Take Green Bay, lay the 6.5. Take under 45.5. Thought it would be lower by now. It's not. It hasn't really budged all week, even though the weather forecast is out there. 45.5. That's what we see. I see this one being pretty easy. 24-10, 27-6, 27-10, something like that. The Rams are in serious trouble tomorrow, and the Pack are going to roll and dance on into the NFC Championship, where they will await the winner of Sunday night's game between Tampa and New Orleans to decide whether or not they're going to play. Well, they're going to host a 40-year-old quarterback either way. So anyway, Green Bay game 1, minus 6.5 and under 45.5. Game 2, I'm really, really looking forward to this one. Saturday night, prime time. Buffalo, Bills Mafia, Andrew Cuomo. I say Cuomo. I'm sorry, that guy, he's just been a disaster trying to appease Bills Mafia. He won't let him. He'll let him go to the game, but he won't let him go to theaters. There's a curfew, and the game's on late. It's the late start. It's just, that's what happens. Cuomo is just a disastrous governor. Anyway, Buffalo's at home. They're 2.5-point favorites over the Ravens. Buffalo played the first game last week, and they almost got beat. Indianapolis, a case could be made. A couple mistakes here or there, a missed field goal, a bad decision by Frank Reich to go for it on fourth down at the end of the first half, cost them. Indianapolis could have at the very least could have sent that game into overtime. And Indianapolis outplayed Buffalo. So if you're on Buffalo's bandwagon and you want to say to yourself, it was just a bad game. They're going to bounce back. They're going to be better. That's fine. I get it. I totally understand. I don't believe it, but I understand, right? Buffalo had a great end to the season. The last 2 months, they've been the best team in football, period, right? But what have you done for me lately? Last week at home, they didn't play well. And they were outplayed by Indy, right? Tomorrow, they've got Lamar Jackson coming into town, who got the monkey off his back, got a playoff win, and it was impressive. The defense, Baltimore's defense right now is playing as good as any unit in the NFL. They shut down the Titans' high-powered offense, which was averaging in points in the 30s. Derrick Henry couldn't do a thing. Ryan Tannehill couldn't do a thing. And if you look back over the last 5 or 6 weeks, the best team in the NFL has been Baltimore. They're not just beating teams, but they're steamrolling teams, right? They were favorites last week here in Nashville. They went in and they beat up the Titans. They're going to go in and they're going to beat the Bills tomorrow. I don't think they're going to beat them up, but they're going to beat them. Baltimore's a better football team, period. This is what should have happened last year, was Baltimore, but it didn't, so anyway, it's Baltimore's time right now. Buffalo is probably still a year away. They made the playoffs and they won a game. Next year, they can compete for a championship. Baltimore, they're all in right now. This is their chance. Baltimore goes into Buffalo tomorrow. You're going to give me 2.5? I'll take them. I'd take 3. It'd be better, but I'll take 2.5. Take Ravens on the money line. There's a winner also. As far as the total goes, I like the under. You think the weather's going to be bad in Green Bay. It's going to be even worse in Buffalo, especially at night. They're expecting 20-mile-an-hour winds. It's just going to be brutal. So with 49 being a pretty large number, no. I'll take the under all day long and watch the Ravens go into Buffalo and escape with a 23-20 win outright. Yep, Ravens win. So there's your 2 picks for Saturday. We move on to Sunday. It starts with the defending NFL, the defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs at home against the Brownies, and give the Browns all the credit in the world for making a fool out of me and going into Pittsburgh and dominating from literally the opening snap. And good for them. Hey, Cleveland, fantastic season. Good job, Baker and Odell, tweeting from your couch about don't be surprised. Odell, no one's listening to you. But congratulations. Stefanski wasn't there last week because of COVID. He's going to be back on the sidelines this week, just in time to feed your team to the chefs. The Kansas City Chiefs have been the thorn in the paw of many bettors. Not for us. We rolled against them down the stretch, and they made us a lot of money by not covering any of those numbers. 7-1 in their last 8 games. 1-7 against the number in those last 8 games. Not impressive wins at all. Now, do we think that the Chiefs can just take a week off, flip on the switch, and say it's go time? No, we don't. It's not going to happen. But they're playing the Browns. And the Browns' defense is an absolute... Yeah, they're getting Denzel Ward back, who's their best cover corner. But that defense is bad. And it's not good enough to even slow down Kansas City, let alone try to corral them or contain them or, keep Mahomes in their sights. Oh, my God, there goes Kelsey. Oh, wait a minute, here comes another... The weapons are too many. Kansas City's going to roll. They're going to make it look easy. You want to make millions? Bet the Chiefs in the first quarter. Bet the Chiefs in the first half. Bet the Chiefs for the game. Bet the Chiefs on the money line parlay. The whole 9. Chiefs, easy. Total 57. We'll take the over because the Chiefs are going to score into the 40s. And in order for Cleveland to cover that number, if the Chiefs are scoring into the 40s, then Cleveland's going to have to score into the 30s. So that means it's over. Now, Cleveland's going to score. Don't get me wrong. They'll get some points. Most likely late garbage time touchdowns. And you just got to hope that one of them doesn't come through the back door to sting you. But Kansas City's the play and the over. -10 and over 57. As you head to the night game, which is the game of the weekend. And I don't even know how you can't call it that. Two 40-year-old quarterbacks getting after it for the third time this season. New Orleans is a 3-point favorite in the Dome. It's the third time they met, like I said, and the first two times didn't go so well for Tampa Bay. The Saints rolled them both times. Can it happen a third time in a row? Sure. Would I be surprised? No, absolutely not. I'm a big fan of New Orleans. But like we've said over and over again, New Orleans has trouble in the playoffs. The last 3 years, they lost on the last play of the game. That's how they were eliminated the last 3 years in the playoffs. They've got to win this one big. If they keep it close and Brady gets the ball late, sorry, Tampa Bay is going to win this game. And I mean, personally, I'd like to see New Orleans win the whole thing. I don't see it happening, though. Tampa Bay is they're going to get after it. They're going to go down into the bayou, and they're going to do it. I mean, Tom Brady has all of his weapons right now. And the last 5 weeks, he's putting up 30-something points a game. Their numbers are through the roof, 400 yards a game. Brady is not making all those interceptions that he was throwing earlier on in the season when Bruce Arians was giving him the business about. Now, you're not hearing much talk about that these days because Tom's getting it done. Yeah, they didn't look great against Washington. They did get the win. And if you look at it, the game really wasn't as close as the score might have shown. Tampa Bay was never in doubt of losing that game. It was just some guy named Heineke from Washington came out of nowhere and played really well to put the fear of God into Tampa Bay and all their backers. Didn't happen. But anyway, Tampa Bay, I like them. I like them in this spot. I like them to win. I think they're going to win. If they don't win, I'll take the field goal anyway, right? If New Orleans wins by a field goal, then hey, great. But this game has the makings of a shootout and a game that's going to come down to a kicker's toe instead of two 40-year-olds' arms. So Tampa Bay and the over, 52, right? Both teams hit 30s. Yeah, sure. Gonna happen. So dress in style, go hog wild, me oh my oh. Son of a gun will have big fun on the bayou. In the words of the immortal Hank Williams, talking about the bayou. And that's what we're gonna see tomorrow night. Sorry, I ain't a singer. I don't profess to be. I'm a model, that's obvious, but not a singer. Anyway, those are your NFL picks for the weekend. Enjoy. Fade me, roll with me, whatever you want. Leave feedback right here on this channel. Hit subscribe. I'm always looking for more subscribers and more views, so thank you. I appreciate it. And now we're going to move on to NCAA basketball, which right now is carrying us 64.06% on the season. 64.06% on the season for NCAA basketball. Getting after it. 9-4 last week. The numbers are, 64%. Tell me anyone else that's doing that and is documenting their picks. Well, here we go. We got a bunch of them. We have 19 picks for you for a college basketball Saturday. And here they come. We're going to go quickly on them. 41-23-1 is our season record, by the way. That's just crazy good. Okay, we start in the morning in ACC country. Florida State, 3.5-point favorites over North Carolina. We're going to take the Tar Heels. They've won 3 in a row right now. Caleb Love is turning into a superstar, probably an All-American, definitely a top 10 pick in the draft whenever he decides to come out. Florida State's playing good ball, and Florida State's won 2 out of 3, hence the 3.5-point number. But I think that 3.5-point number is probably more based on what Carolina has done coming up. But Carolina has finally got their act together, and they're starting to trend in the right direction. So you're going to give Carolina 3.5. We'll take that all day. Next, we go to the Big Ten, and you got a great matchup here. Ohio State and Illinois, two ranked teams. And let me tell you something. You want to see two of the best guards in the country face off against each other? This is it, man. I tell you, Dwayne Washington Jr. from Ohio State is kind of taking over the scoring load right now for the Buckeyes. But he's up against another All-American candidate, and Ayo Dosunmu, who just, I mean, he leads the team in scoring, he leads the team in assists, and he's the one guy you got to stop if you're going to beat the Fighting Illini. Well, we think the Illini win but don't cover. 5.5 is the number. We'll take the Buckeyes. Plus 5.5 on the road in Champaign. And, yeah. Next up, we've got Syracuse and Pitt, another ACC matchup. And it's just, Syracuse is 3.5. Both teams are starting to round into form, although Pitt hasn't played a lot because of COVID illnesses. Syracuse is 3.5. They're playing good ball, and only 3.5. We'll take them, and we'll lay them. Utah State, San Diego State. San Diego State is 3.5-point dogs at home. And San Diego. Anyway, the problem here with San Diego is they just played, or actually these teams just played last night. They played last night up in Logan in Utah, and Utah State throttled them by 12, beat them up. They've won 9 in a row, and right now the Aggies are the team to beat in the Mountain West. San Diego State, it's been their conference for years, but Utah State right now is nipping on their heels. Utah State's going to beat San Diego State for the second time in a week. We're going to lay the 3.5 on the road and watch the Aggies dance. SEC country, Kentucky, maybe they got it together after winning a couple games, but then they just got throttled by Bama the other day, and now there's all these stories about Calipari losing his team over kneeling and the anthem, and you know there's calls for him to be fired, and right now Kentucky's a dumpster fire. Right? They could win this game. They're 2.5-point dogs. Right? But they're not at home. They're not at Rupp. They're going down to the Plains. And as much as trouble that, speaking of trouble, as much trouble as Bruce Pearl has had in Auburn, we like Auburn. We'll take them. They've lost 4 in a row. They had lost 4 in a row until they came back and beat Georgia the other night, which was just what they needed here. So we're going to take the Tigers. We're going to lay 2.5, and short favorite at home. You got to like that. Michigan minus 4.5 at Minnesota. These two teams met last week, and Michigan beat the hell out of them by 25 up at Chrysler Arena. And that started Minnesota, who've their downward spiral. They've now lost 3 out of 4, and Minnesota was, that's a good team. Richard Pitino's done a good job, and he's starting to build a program there. But they've lost 3 out of 4, and now they're going to face a top 5 team. Yes, Juwan Howard has Michigan in the top 5. They're 11-0. They're undefeated. They're going into Minnesota, which is never easy, but we're going to take Michigan. We're going to lay the 4.5 because right now you just got to ride the hot hand. Pac-12 action, Stanford versus Colorado. Colorado's 7.5-point favorites for good reason. They've won 3 out of 4, but so is Stanford. Stanford's won 3 out of 4. Oscar da Silva is a All-American candidate also. He's just been absolutely ridiculous, and he's going to be reason number 1 that Stanford covers this number as a live dog, plus 7.5. Lock of the week, Stanford plus 7.5 on the road at Colorado. Back to the SEC, Alabama versus Arkansas. This is a tasty matchup right here. Arkansas, they've lost 3 out of 4, but Arkansas is a good team. The SEC is a sneaky good conference. Outside of Tennessee, who is like the team, everybody else is pretty good, right? And they're doing all this in a down year for Kentucky. So Arkansas is having a good year. Bama right now is unconscious. Bama's won 6 straight. They're showing no signs of slowing down. And why would they? I mean, they've really got it going on. They're at home, and Tuscaloosa at the Coleman Center minus 3.5. This one should be easy. So Bama roll tide minus 3.5. Big 12, some are arguing that it's the best conference in the nation right now. And case in point, Baylor versus Texas Tech. Probably the game of the week. Baylor, 11.5 point favorites. Big number. That's not right. Baylor is 11.5 over Texas Tech. That's not right. That's an error. So I'm going to cross that out because I had Baylor. I liked Baylor because I want to say it was only like 4.5. But I'll tell you what. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I obviously wrote that down wrong. If Baylor is less than 5, take Baylor. If they're more than 5, do not take Baylor. Lay off the game. Or take Texas Tech. Texas Tech just beat Texas. And Texas Tech is showing that they're legit and they're back and they want to make a run. Keep in mind, they played for the NCAA National Championship in the last game. And they gave Virginia all they could handle until Virginia pulled away at the end. We tend to forget because it was 2 years ago. But Texas Tech is Texas Tech. Now, Baylor hasn't lost yet. They've won 11. That's why I put 11. They've won 11. They're 11-0. Baylor's number 2. And like I said, if they're less than 5, take the Bears. If they're more than 5, lay off. Back to the SEC, Florida versus Mississippi State. At Mississippi State, they're in Stark Vegas. Florida's a short 1.5 point favorite. We're going to take the Gators. The Gators seem to have righted the ship after losing Keontae Johnson, and Mississippi State is not playing well. They've split their last 4, but they're 0-4. They've lost. They haven't covered in 4 straight. So we're going to take Florida. Here's the next one. Call it a homer pick. I don't care. Belmont minus 5.5 versus at Jackson State. Jackson State's having a good year. They're 8-4, but they've won 2-2. They're a ho-hum team. They're doing pretty well. Belmont won 6 in a row. These are the type of games that Belmont just rolls in, and they have been over the years. They will continue to roll in these games, and this is why they're in the tournament every year, because it's what they do. It's Rick Byrd is, he's a Hall of Famer, and the campus is about a 7-minute drive for me. So anyway, Belmont minus 5.5 over Jackson State. Next up, back to the Pac-12, Washington, just a mess right now. They're 1-10. They can't seem to get anything going, and now they've got to head down into Pauley Pavilion and face the Pac-12's best team. Yeah, not by rankings, because somehow the UCLA Bruins still aren't ranked. Don't know how. They've won 6 in a row. They're 6-0 in the Pac-12. They only have 2 losses. One of them came to ranked Ohio State back at Christmas time. And the other one came to San Diego State. So those aren't, those are 2 tournament teams right there that they lost to. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Bruins should be favored. They absolutely throttled Washington State the other day by 30 before I changed the channel. And tomorrow's going to be no different. They'll win by 20 easily. Lay the 14.5. Watch the Bruins roll over the Huskies. Back to the SEC. This one is right here in my backyard. I told you that Belmont is 7 minutes away. Well, Vanderbilt's only 3 minutes away, literally. 3 blocks right up the road. Tennessee comes in with their high ranking and their high flying offense and their defense, which, Tennessee's the best team in the SEC for a reason. This is a good team that is built to go far. Rick Barnes is a hell of a coach who's been there. He knows what it takes. Hasn't won the big one, but Rick Barnes is good enough to get Tennessee there. Well, Tennessee is a 17.5 point favorite over their interstate rival. And Vandy, let me tell you something about Vandy. They've lost 3 in a row, but they've covered all 3. If you haven't seen Vandy play, they're not a whole hell of a lot to watch, but Scottie Pippen Jr., for those of you that aren't paying attention, is averaging 22 points a game for the Doors right now. Yes, Scottie Pippen Jr. He doesn't look like his dad. I don't want to cast stones. He doesn't look like his dad, but he's got some serious game, and right now he's leading the Doors, and Jerry Stackhouse is doing a fairly good job in his first year here in Nashville. We'll see how that goes going forward, especially if Pippen declares. But anyway, as far as tomorrow goes, we're going to take the Commodores plus 17.5 against the Vols. ACC action, Virginia versus Clemson. Some might tell you this is the best matchup of the weekend. 2 more ranked teams. Clemson's 9-1. They're playing really good ball. They're ranked 12th versus the 18th ranked Virginia, the defending champion Cavaliers, who are coming in. They're going to get 1.5. We'll take the 1.5. Virginia wins money line. Period. Arizona State versus Oregon State, Pac-12 action. Both teams have had COVID issues, and they haven't played a lot of ball. But when Oregon State has played ball, they haven't played well. They haven't played well at all. Arizona State, Bobby Hurley, you can look at their schedule and say that they haven't really lived up to their preseason hype, but look at who they've played. Their preseason schedule was dynamite, and it was just as good as top-ranked Gonzaga's, who went out of their way to play top teams. So Arizona State, Bobby Hurley, I give you props, and I'm going to put some money behind you tomorrow as you lay 6.5 at Oregon State and Sun Devils. BYU minus 1.5 against USF. This is a good matchup right here. I'm telling you, the WCC has some good basketball teams, outside of Gonzaga. Everybody knows Gonzaga. But between St. Mary's and BYU and USF, those are teams that are having good seasons. Well, 2 of them are facing off against each other, and they're both coming off losses to Gonzaga. Big ho-hum surprise there. BYU's 1.5 point favorite. We're going to take the Cougars on the hilltop on the road. Not an easy place to win these days, but the Dons started out well. Not so much now. They did have a win over Kansas back in the preseason, but they're in trouble. BYU's coming in. BYU's not going to lose 2 in a row. We're going to take the Cougars. Go back to the ACC again, Louisville and Miami. Louisville is a short favorite on the road at Miami. Miami has been up and down. They lost. They had a couple of heartbreaking losses. We took them last week, and they got us a win, an outright win, and they started to get things back together, but they're still a mess. They're 5-6 on the year. Louisville's 9-1, and the Cards right now are cruising, so they're going to go into Miami and leave with an easy cover. SEC again, a lot of SEC on my board. I didn't even realize that, but another SEC game here. South Carolina has not played in a couple weeks because of COVID outbreaks. It's a good team. It really is a good team. Granted, they're 3-2, so they've only played 5 games. We don't really have a lot to base that on. Now, LSU, on the other hand, they're 8.5 point favorites. This freshman, Cameron Thomas, has been unbelievable. He's been better than LSU could have thought he was going to be, and he's going to be the reason that LSU lands on probation in a couple of years, because Cameron Thomas was the number 1 ranked shooting guard coming out of high school. What's he doing at LSU? You just can't be obvious. So I'm not saying they're going to get busted, but if it happens 3 or 4 years down the road from now, when Cameron Thomas is an NBA All-Star, don't say you didn't hear it first. Anyway, South Carolina, we're going to take the points, 8.5 point dog at the Maravich Center in Baton Rouge. So the Chinese Bandits take one in the shorts. They'll win, but they won't cover the 8.5. And finally, the Degenerate Special. I love it. We're back. We've got that time of year. Degenerate Special games again. There are 2 other games that are on around the same time, but this is the last one on the board with a line on it for tomorrow. So we hit the special last week, and we're gonna let's see, who was it last week? Last week it was Oregon over Utah. That was our Degenerate Special there. Anyway, here we go. Degenerate Special. Gonzaga minus 15.5 at St. Mary's. St. Mary's is a good team. St. Mary's is strong. Randy Bennett has done a fantastic job there for all those years. They've made a handful of NCAA appearances. If Gonzaga was in any other conference, St. Mary's would be owning the WCC for all these years, right? But there's always Gonzaga in front of him, and Gonzaga is going to come in to Moraga tomorrow, and they're going to tap dance all over St. Mary's. St. Mary's has lost 2 straight. Gonzaga legitimately has 3 players that will be All-Americans. They won't be first-team All-Americans, all 3 of them, but a case could be made for Joel Ayayi, Ayayi. It's always kind of hard to say, but that he could be the 4th. Because between Jalen Suggs, Drew Timme, and Corey Kispert, these guys are playing some unbelievable ball. Mark Few has just another clip ready to go if one of these guys, knock on wood, goes down or gets into foul trouble. It's just releasing the hounds and changing, keeping fresh legs in there. Gonzaga is the best team in the country. They're going to go into the NCAA tournament undefeated. I said it. Are they going to win it all? Who knows? We got to wait and see what their draw looks like. But right now, they're the best team in the country. We're going to lay the 15.5 against St. Mary's. Can St. Mary's keep it close? Yes, absolutely. Will they? No. Sorry. Not going to happen. So there's your picks for the week. That's it. That's all I got for you. That's 27 plays. That's 8 NFL plays, 27 and 19 NCAA hoop plays. 27 plays. We'll take 15 and 12. Boom, there it is. That's a winning week. 16 and 11, 17 and 10. Now, then it starts to become dangerous because we start making more and more money for you. So that's the plan. We're going to make as much, we're going to take as much of the white meat as we can. We're going to enjoy it and get after it. Last segment would be our shout outs for the week. This one's going to go out to, since I don't use their names, this one I'm going to say that he uses a shortened version of his Greek name. That's what he goes by. He goes by a shortened version of his Greek name. But for here, we'll use his American name and call him Tommy. Tommy from Houston, Menlo Park. Tommy from Houston, Menlo Park. Question for you. What the hell's going on in Houston? Talk to me, my brother. All right? James Harden wants out. Gets out. They gave him his wish, and they shipped him off to Headcase Land, Brooklyn. And I really feel bad for Steve Nash. But, okay, he wants out. Deshaun Watson, he wants out. The 2 biggest stars in Houston want to leave. What's going on? Why are you chasing them out? Talk to me. Let me know. Because I don't understand it. But I'll tell you what, I'd rather have Deshaun Watson on my team than James Harden. And I don't care what sport you're playing. Deshaun Watson is a baller. Period. Right? So is Harden. So is Harden. But Deshaun Watson gets it done with nothing around him. With nothing around him. Anyway, that's it for me. That's all I've got for you. Y'all have a good week. Remember that if you want to win big, you got to bet big. There's always money on the streets that cannot be ignored. And finally, good luck to you.